Kylie Jenner tops Kendall Jenner's stalker news with a meltdown over a reported break-in at her home. Watch. A mere week after Kim Kardashian West went into detail about her harrowing armed robbery experience, her baby sis Kendall Jenner will recount her scary run-in with her stalker on Sunday's episode of KUWTK. Thankfully, E! chose to tease the conversation Kenny J has with momager Kris Jenner and, sort of, brother-in-law Scott Disick about the terrifying incident. Related, Kylie's blush is causing controversy. In case you forgot, back in August, a superfan gave the supermodel quite a fright after he followed her onto the property line of her Hollywood Hills home. To make matters worse, the man, named Siobhan McKenzie, confronted the girl on 2 other occasions at her Old Westwood condo. While the 21-year-old has since gotten the restraining order out against McKenzie, he has already been released from prison due to time served. Be sure to check out Kendall's details on the run-in for yourself, below. Of course, that's not the only break-in drama slated to air on Sunday, as Mama Jenner's youngest Kylie Jenner goes into full freak-out mode over reports someone busted into her house. Not to mention, the little Jenner's emotional crisis causes her mom to spiral out and fight with BF Corey Gamble over whether or not she should head over to her daughter's mansion. The answer is always no, Kris. Karim Benzema sounds off on Didier Deschamps. For the coaches and staff of Real Madrid, the services of Karim Benzema are invaluable. Back home, in France, it has quite the opposite. The most talented French striker of his generation, Benzema has not appeared on the pitch for France's national team since 2015. That didn't change Saturday, when he was snubbed by coach Didier Deschamps for the team's World Cup qualifier in Luxembourg. He hasn't logged playing time in the last 20 matches. The last time he wore a Tricolor jersey on his shoulders, he netted 2 goals and set up another as Armenia was beaten 4-0 in a friendly. There is little doubt in anyone's minds that Benzema misses the national team deeply. When you play in a great club like Real Madrid, it's hard to stay here, Benzema said in an interview with RMC Radio. We are only 5 or 6 pros at training, and every time I am disappointed. Benzema's biological clock is ticking, and a stable of new French talent is currently blossoming. The 29-year-old is well aware the 2018 World Cup might be his last opportunity to win a big competition with France. Speaking strictly in terms of football production, there is very little that can justify his repeated absence in Deschamps' squads. In his prime, Benzema is arguably in the greatest physical shape of his career, and has the full backing of Madrid coach and France great Zinedine Zidane. Madrid president Florentino Perez recently said he is the best number 9 in the world. Fans have also been buzzing in anticipation of what the pairing of Benzema and Monaco sensation Kylian Mbappé could bring to the national side. Given what I've done at Madrid for 8 years now, I've proven that I still have some years ahead of me in the France team, Benzema said. It's hard for me because I love football. Deschamps does have a healthy striking arsenal that includes the likes of Kevin Gamero, Olivier Giroud, Antoine Griezmann, and Mbappé, but that hasn't stopped several analysts from speculating that the absence of Benzema's playing time isn't football related. He is still paying the price for his involvement in a blackmail scandal that rocked French football and ruled him out of the 2016 European Championship. The story was first reported in 2015 after Benzema was charged with conspiracy to blackmail as part of an investigation over a sex tape involving France teammate Mathieu Valbuena. The investigation is still pending. Benzema is suspected of a role in pressuring Valbuena to deal directly with the blackmailers. Because of this, naturally, France's football powers believe his return to the national squad would cause turmoil. Until now I've not been proven guilty, Benzema said. I have paid. I've been out of the French team for a year and a half, that's enough. At least I would like to have a talk with the coach, so he could tell me whether it is because of this case, or because of football. Today, I need to know. Deschamps and French Federation President Laurent have publicly opened the door for Benzema's return, but it appears as if the coach has no intention of summoning his services into a squad that performs up to par without him. "I am making sporting choices for the sake of the French team," Deschamps said this week. "He can be selected. We did without him at the Euro, and we made it to the final. In Deschamps' defense, Benzema surely hurt his own cause with a bit of clumsy communication. He accused the French coach of succumbing to pressure from racists by deciding not to include him in the squad for the European Championship. In an interview with Spanish sports newspaper Marca last June, Benzema, who is of Algerian descent, said he did not believe Deschamps was a racist, but that he bowed to the pressure of a racist part of France. Benzema doubled down on the words during the interview. "I can't regret these words, because it is true," the forward said. No cakewalk as Federer wins opening Miami match. Reuters, Roger Federer continued his impressive 2017 campaign with a straight sets, second-round victory at the Miami Open in Florida on Saturday. But it was far from a cakewalk for Federer, who came within 2 points of losing the first set before breaking twice in the second for a 7-6-2, 6-3 triumph over American teenager Frances Tiafoe. Next up for Federer is Juan Martín del Potro, who beat Dutchman Robin Haase 6-2, 6-4 in a night match at Crandon Park. Federer has a 15-5 career record against Del Potro, the 2009 US Open champion. "I would love to play against Del Potro," Federer said, speaking before knowing who his next opponent would be. "We've had some epic matches against each other. I'm sure the crowd would love to see it." Tiafoe provided a good competitive workout for the 35-year-old Swiss maestro in his first match since he won the BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells on Sunday. Tiafoe broke in the first game of the second set, but fourth seed Federer broke straight back with the sizzling backhand winner, and another break was all he needed to clinch his 1,094th career victory at tour level. Tiafoe, ranked 101st in the world, has only 4 career victories, but he showed enough to suggest he will add to that number sooner rather than later. Federer could be on course for a semi-final showdown with compatriot Stan Wawrinka, less than 2 weeks after they met in the Indian Wells final. Top seed Wawrinka defeated Argentina's Horacio Zeballos in 65 minutes, firing 7 aces in a 6-3, 6-4 victory in less than favorable morning conditions. "I'm really happy with the match today," Wawrinka told reporters. "It's quite tough conditions, raining and really windy today. It's really windy on the court, so it's never easy. I'm happy with the way I was moving, the way I was playing, and my attitude in general was really positive," he added. "So it's a great match." Austrian number 6 Dominic Thiem was the only high seed to suffer a loss on Saturday. Thiem fell to 20-year-old Croatian-born Koric, who overcame an embarrassing brain freeze in the final game to win 6-1, 7-5. Serving for the match, Koric stopped in the middle of the rally, challenging a line call, only to be reminded by the chair umpire that he had no challenges left. Volatile Australian Nick Kyrgios won his match, and also received a code violation warning from the chair umpire for swearing at a spectator who called out during a point. Kyrgios, the 12th seed, dropped his first 2 service games, but roared back to beat Amir Zummer 6-4, 6-3. Reporting by Andrew Bolton Carey, North Carolina, and Gene Cherry in Salvo, North Carolina. Editing by Claire Fallon, Sudubto Gang Uli. Hamas closes Gaza crossing with Israel after shadowy killing. Gaza City, Gaza Strip. Gaza's Hamas rulers shut down the territory's main border crossing with Israel Sunday in a rare measure following the mysterious killing of a senior militant. Hamas Interior Ministry spokesman Iyad al-Bassam said the Erez crossing point will be fully closed in both directions until further notice. The unusual measure came after a senior Hamas militant, Mazen Fakha, was found shot dead at the entrance of his Gaza City home late Friday. Hamas, the Islamic militant group that rules Gaza, said Fakhl was shot 4 times in the head with a silenced gun and blamed Israel for assassinating him, without providing evidence. Suspecting that local collaborators with Israel were involved, Hamas has since deployed dozens of checkpoints across the Gaza Strip, where drivers are asked to turn on their interior lights and hand over IDs for inspection. The closing of ears also applies to journalists, aid workers and patients needing medical help in Israel. Fakhl, who was given 9 life sentences for directing suicide bombing attacks against Israelis, was freed in 2011 along with more than 1,000 others as part of an exchange for captive Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit. Fakhl was among dozens of West Bank residents Israel deported to Gaza or elsewhere because of the severity of their crimes. His funeral Saturday drew thousands of supporters, including the movement's top leaders in Gaza, who vowed to avenge the killing. Israel has not commented on the killing. Australia stats: Vettel puts Ferrari on top for first time since 2012. After a winless season in 2016, Ferrari kickstarted F1's brand new era in the best possible way in Australia. Sebastian Vettel secured Ferrari's first win in a season-opening race since Fernando Alonso went on his debut for the Scuderia in Bahrain in 2010. You have to go back even further for Ferrari's last win in Australia, 2007, when another debutant, Kimi Räikkönen, triumphed. It was Vettel's 43rd career victory, his 4th for Ferrari, and his and the prancing horse's first since the 2015 Singapore Grand Prix, 28 races ago. It is only the second time in his career that Vettel has won the opening round of the season. The other time was in 2011 when he dominantly led the championship from start to finish. And speaking of championship leads, Vettel is the first non-Mercedes driver to lead the World Championship since Sebastian Vettel, who was on top at Abu Dhabi in 2013 when he won his 4th world title. Ferrari meanwhile now lead the championship for the first time since Japan in 2012 to 1,625 days in total. Then again, that's perhaps not surprising, Vettel's win was only Ferrari's 9th since 2011. For the second year in a row, the race was won by the driver starting from P2. On both occasions, Hamilton was on pole. In fact, the Briton has now only converted 2 of his 6 Australia poles into victory. With second place however, Hamilton did add a 105th podium finish to his racing CV, and is now just 1 rostrum behind Alain Prost for second on the all-time list. Michael Schumacher holds the record with an astonishing 155 podiums. Hamilton may be a way off matching Schumacher's podium record, but he did join the German legend as one of only 2 drivers in F1 history to have led more than 3,000 laps. Similarly, Hamilton and Schumacher are the only drivers to have led over 100 races. Valtteri Bottas capped his debut race for Mercedes with his 10th career podium. The Finn is the 4th driver to stand on podium for the Silver Arrows since their return to F1 in 2010, following Nico Rosberg, Michael Schumacher, and Lewis Hamilton. Kimi Räikkönen missed the podium in 4th, but the Finn did add to his impressive tally of fastest laps, taking the honor for the 44th time in his career. Only one driver in history has more than Räikkönen, and again it is Michael Schumacher with 77. Schumacher's lap record for Melbourne -1 meter 24.125s from 2004, remained intact, despite pre-race predictions that it might fall. The outright fastest ever lap around Albert Park did fall this weekend however, courtesy of Hamilton's pole lap. 5th place represents Max Verstappen's best finish in Australia in 3 attempts, but Red Bull won to look back on the race with particular fondness. For the 3rd year in a row they failed to get one of their cars on the starting grid, though Ricciardo did eventually start the race from the pits. Felipe Massa kept a happier 3-year streak going. For the 3rd successive race in Australia he finished in the top 6. Force India and Toro Rosso joined Mercedes and Ferrari in getting both of their cars home in the points. In finishing 10th, Esteban Ocon picked up his first F1 point in what was his 10th race. The Force India driver is the 36th Frenchman to tally in Grand Prix racing. For Toro Rosso it has the second year in a row they've scored points with both cars in Australia. Daniel Kvyat in particular will have been delighted to reach the checkered flag, having not even made the start in Australia for the last 2 years. His 9th place matches where he finished on his debut for the Italian team in 2014. And not only did Kvyat score points, he also surpassed Vitaly Petrov for the most starts, 58, by a Russian driver in F1. Elsewhere, Antonio Giovinazzi finished 12th on his Grand Prix debut for Sauber. That's the best finish for an Italian since the 2010 Korean Grand Prix when Didier Deschamps was 6th. Having said that, before today, no Italian had raced in F1 since the end of 2011. And finally, since 2011 of the 17 Round 1 winners have gone on to win the title. Will Sebastian Vettel join the 11 or the unlucky 6 in